Welcome to the Ecom Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level. Join Josh Hadley, an 8-figure Ecomm business owner and investor, as he interviews highly successful business owners. Get ready, because you're going to learn specific actions you can take today to help your business reach its full potential and leave a lasting impact on the world.
Welcome to the Ecom Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley, where I interview the top business leaders in e-commerce. Previous guests include Kevin King, Stephen Pope, and Roland Frazier. Today I'm speaking with Norm Farrar, aka The Beard Guy, and we will be talking a lot about his tested strategies to launch new products, drive external traffic, and take your brand to 8 figures and beyond. This episode is brought to you by Ecom Breakthrough Consulting, where I help 7-figure companies grow to 8 figures and beyond. Listen, Norm, I started Hadley Designs back in 2015, and I grew it to an 8-figure brand in 7 years. But I made a lot of mistakes along the way that made getting to that 8-figure mark take a little bit longer. There were times where I really doubted myself that I could run an 8-figure business or that my brand could be successful and could survive. I wish I would have had a mentor or a guide along the way that would have helped me overcome a lot of the obstacles and stumbling blocks that I encountered on that path. If you've hit a plateau and you want to know the next steps to take your business to the next level, then go to ecombreakthrough.com. That's Ecomm with 2 M's to learn more. And as a special bonus to my podcast listeners, this month I'm giving away one $10,000 comprehensive business strategy audit session at no cost. All you need to do is email me at josh@ecombreakthrough.com, and in your subject line, put strategy audit and tell me why you think you should win this comprehensive strategy audit, and we'll select one of you to win. And don't worry, if you don't win this month, you'll be entered to win for future months to come. Today, I'm super excited to introduce to you Norm Farrar. Norm specializes in providing e-commerce and online marketing services for brands. He has worked with Fortune 500 companies such as Coca-Cola, Mercedes-Benz, and 20th Century Fox. Since the early 1990s, Norm has focused on helping entrepreneurs optimize their operations and unlock their business's potential. Presently, he is the host of the popular Amazon podcast, Lunch with Norm. So welcome to the show, Norm.
Hey, glad to be here.
Well, Norm, I know you're a very well-respected man in the e-commerce space, aka the Beard Guy. I think everybody that sees your face, they're like, I know who he is. You've got that distinct beard going on. So you've done a really good job on your own personal branding.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it didn't start out that way, but it grew, no pun intended, into it.
It just grew on you, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, I love it. Well, Norm, why don't you give our audience and some of our listeners a little bit of background about yourself? How did you get into e-commerce? Obviously, you have a lot of experience starting in the 1990s, obviously. Tell everybody about your background and a little bit about what you're doing today.
Yeah, it was a complete fluke that I got into it. But anyways, I won't bore you with the details of the opportunity getting into it. But I was working with a Fortune 500 company, and they wanted to know whether I could do this thing on the web, which I never even heard of before. Luckily, I knew some people that could. And they helped me produce a website that it was for co-op. So you put the Fortune 500 logo on with the dealer network. And that was on mugs and keychains and all that stuff. So nobody else was doing it. That was the very first corporate site I ever saw. I mean, there was nobody. CD Now was out there, but nothing like this. And then because of that, other people were coming to me saying, hey, can you do what you just did for this company? And then we started our own. And back in the 90s, I think we were one of the first, probably first 5 anyways, companies that were doing print on demand. So we would do corporate identity. People would send us their logos and we would create, or send us their information. We would create the logo, and that's how it started. And then it kind of expanded. I got into some of the manufacturing side of things, fulfillment side of things. My family opened up 2 businesses in Taiwan, so I was involved with that. And a friend of mine talked to me about Amazon. It was AMA. It was ASM's first program, beta program. Had no interest in it. And then about ASM 3, my buddy came back and he said, why don't we go to Vegas and take a look at Amazon again? And we did, and we got involved.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then the rest from there, I guess, how did you transition from what you were doing then into Amazon? Because obviously you've now kind of solidified your spot in the Amazon ecosystem. And, you know, what transpired during that transition of like doubling down on Amazon?
Well, it was so easy at the time because I had already done everything from packaging to manufacturing, sourcing, bringing in containers. So the whole supply chain management thing, right up to the Facebook ads and, you know, any type of external traffic there was. So I could help people out. And at one event, I heard this Irish doctor talking about, he was not even talking, I could tell he was a deer in the headlights, but he was surrounded by a group of people and they were talking about just not being able to do it. And he wished he could just specialize in doing what he did. And, you know, he would, if he found somebody that could beat Standards & Poor's, the S&P, that he would be happy to give it away. And I interrupted the conversation. I said, I can do that. And he, over about a 2-week period, he just trusted me, gave me some money. He didn't know what I was going to create for him. I gave him a list of about 5 to 10 things. He picked out one. We ended up with 2 different things, completely different categories. And then I started working right in Amazon. And I really, at that point, didn't have a successful product. I just heard about this, knew I could do it, and said, yeah, I can do this, no problem. And we did it, you know, no problem. It's a lot more difficult now.
It is. Well, it sounds like an amazing journey. So I think a lot of people did start through the ASM program. You know, I didn't listen to the ASM or programs. I did one of the other ones. I don't even remember who it was at the time, but I think the best of us all kind of went through somebody's program at some point getting into all of this stuff. But I mean, Norm, what I think is fascinating about your experience is that Amazon was actually very easy for you when the opportunity came about it, because you were already doing a lot of the heavy lifting, right? Like you mentioned, like you already had the supply chain and importing and bringing stuff in overseas, but also driving external traffic and actually marketing products. And how do you help them succeed when you're the one who's responsible for driving the traffic instead of Amazon bringing the traffic to you? And then obviously not having to fulfill any of those products yourself takes a huge load off your shoulders as well. So I think, Norm, no wonder you've had so much success in the Amazon space, because I think that not many people in the e-commerce space right now have a lot of that experience of driving external traffic and, you know, years of supply chain experience as well on top of that. So, you know, Norm, we talked prior to hitting the record button, and I think there's a lot of golden nuggets we'll be able to share with the listeners today. But I think you're so experienced, and I want to ask this question for our listeners. What would be your advice and recommendation for a 7-figure seller that wants to grow to 8 figures and beyond? What is it that they should be focused on in their business right now?
One thing I didn't tell you, which I think is probably pretty important, is being resilient. You know, there's so many times Amazon just shuts the door on us, and we just got to, you know, keep picking ourselves up and moving forward. So I didn't tell you this either. You can't be that one-legged stool. You know, if you're only focusing on Amazon, that's probably not the right business model right now, because they're in control of you. They decide to suspend you, you're out of the game. So I would definitely be trying to find like a multi-channel, omnichannel approach to this. But what we were talking about is to grow anything, to scale, to get over the chasm. I think the book is called Crossing the Chasm. You've got to have systems in place. You've got to be able to grow, scale your business, and make it as automated as possible. And you, as the seller in a 8-figure business, or, seven-figure business, you've got to be able to work on your business, build your business on what counts. You can't be writing the feedback or, working out spreadsheets or data entry. You've got to be able to grow. And the toughest part is at first, how do you find those people? So it's the hiring process. You've got to take time to figure it out. You probably have to work more than 8 hours, to get this done, because this is a lot of night work, I found. But once the system's in place and you've got that hiring process and you've got your SOPs started and you train people properly to train people, then you can really grow your business. But up until that point, you'll work 25 hours a day. You'll be deep into crisis management because it's always going to be there. And until you can really settle that down, you'll never be able to grow, ever.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think a lot of sellers, kind of stumble upon success, right?
Yeah.
And then the skills of just finding a product on Amazon and being able to source it and succeed on Amazon and get to seven figures is well and good, right? That is a good business. But then if you want to scale, right, and actually build out a team and build out a real brand, it requires kind of taking things to the next level in terms of your own, career progression, so to speak, right? Your own skill set. You need to start wearing different hats. No longer are you the one, doing the data entry, communicating with suppliers and all of that. Like, you've got to hire and train a team and trust that they're going to go make the same decisions that you would, right? Or better decisions, ideally, than you would, which requires a whole other set of skills. So, Norm, is that something that you advise people on? And how do you help people kind of navigate that path?
Yeah, if anybody ever reached out, I can help people in different areas. But if people did reach out and they wanted to talk about SOPs, I've been doing SOPs. I had a hyper growth company back in 1995, and I was going crazy. And I still talk about this book. It's called The E-Myth. It's called The E-Myth Revisited. It's kind of like EOS, but it's that's the thing that started. Back then there wasn't the EOS system, but that's what got me going. I started to understand process, started to understand how to build brand culture, or corporate culture and performance-based culture, which if you don't understand that, you can't grow a team, because your team's got to buy in. It can't be from you down, you dictating what people have as a culture. They've got to buy into it and accelerate that. So that book was really great. I went through the academy that Michael Gerber had. So I learned how to do it at a different level than just at the book. But I can help people with that. I could advise them on where to go and find alternatives to what they're probably doing. And also on the hiring process. We've hired a lot of people throughout the years. And, we have systems in place that we work with. And actually showing people how to tie that all into a project management tool where if somebody doesn't know what to do, there's a template. So it's just copy paste. And if somebody doesn't know where to do it, all of their SOPs, training, and templates are in one area.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have some experience there, which is great. So, Norm, what are the services that you do provide when sellers do come to you, right? What are all the many things that you do, and when it comes to consulting and advising clients? Because I know it's a lot, but let's dive into some of those, and then we'll dive even deeper into some of those, things that you're doing and what's working best right now in the e-commerce world.
I do a lot of things, but it's not just me. A lot of the times I find something, I find a good person to run the company. We have staff meetings, but for the most part, I'm building. So that's what I do. But
tell me more about that. I'm curious about that. You talk about your building. You have other people more operating the businesses, correct? Tell me more about that, because I think many of the listeners are like you and I, where we are the builders, the visionaries, and we need the other people, the integrators, so to speak, that can run the day-to-day operations. So would you mind elaborating a little more on that?
Sure. So I believe in vertical integration. So there's multiple parts of the business or businesses, and it just creates a stronger business in the end. One of them, for example, would have been sourcing. I teamed up with an incredible sourcing agent at the time, but he was also an Amazon expert, and he was a design engineer. So the guy that I'm talking about is Afolabi Orolkan, and when Amazon was going from Amazon to Amazon FBA, they actually brought him in as a consultant at one point. So very smart guy. Anyways, he approached me. We looked at, seeing if we could do some sourcing together. Then it turned into some supply chain management, fulfillment center that we have in Pennsylvania, and then product innovation. And we've kind of expanded into these areas for that part of the company. We have a meeting we had a meeting this morning, and we had it with our team. We might have a second meeting depending on how things are going through the week. But for the most part, he runs it. He has total control of the business. He might ask what do I think about this person or that person, if we're hiring or if we have to let them go. But it's pretty much him running that. And I can go out and I can see how we can fit into other areas or build out. So anyways, he does his thing. I do what I do best. And it's interesting how it's evolving, because he's getting more and more known on the podcast circuit, and more people are coming to the service because they've seen him on a podcast, which is great. Then I don't have to do as much work, and I can go out to these events and just try to drive traffic over to him that way.
I love that. Did it take you time building up that relationship with him to where you did trust him, because he's running the show now, did it take time?
It didn't take as much time as I thought. I, first of all, had no interest in him. I didn't. And Afolabi, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But I was sourcing in Taiwan and in China back in the 1990s. And I think he was born in the 90s. But anyway, I heard from a friend that you got to talk to this guy. He's in sourcing. And because she was a friend, I said, sure, I'll meet with him. But I really didn't expect that I'd do anything with him, because I thought I knew enough about sourcing. First call, he said, sir, I'd like to talk to you about 7 things your sourcing agent would never tell you. There's 7 secrets, you said. So I said, okay, lay it on me. And sure enough, there was 3-4 things that he told me that I had no clue on. And I started talking with him, and probably about a month later, we joined and we got into business together. And it was funny. It was and that was back in 2019. I only met him last year in Mexico for the first time.
Oh, really?
And I only met him in Toronto last week for the second time. So we've done all this business together for years, and we've never met.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I trust them. It takes a lot to build up trust.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, he's a great guy.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate that was a side tangent, but I think important for people to understand that it does require building out a team and establishing trust with other people. And that can be done remotely. And that's what I love hearing from your experience. My entire team is also 100% remote. Most of it, like 90% of our team members, I've never met in person. And so it can be done, which is great. So Norm, let's go back to, what are the different services then that people come to you for?
Well, people will come to me for Amazon, but when I look at what they're doing, they're working backwards. So I go back to them and I say, do you have a brand, and do you have a social media account set up? Do you have a website, like a simple page set up, or SEO? These are all things that the one company takes care of for people, but a lot of people just never even think of, why would I need social media? Why would I need a website? And they think that it's got to be really expensive, when it doesn't. It's just got to be, when somebody's going to Amazon looking for your product, you're a micro brand, just like my cup says, Rise of the Micro Brands. Oops, that's not the right cup. I thought it was. But anyways, what ends up happening is, now I lost my train of thought because of this. What was I saying?
Micro brands.
micro brands, but before that,
and having your own website and social media.
There we go. So the website. Thank God I have a younger guy on here. So, anyways, it's all about being authority. So if you go onto Amazon, what's the first thing you're going to do? It's a micro brand. You can't trust them. You go to Google, and if there's no presence there, or if there's no way of showing that you're an authority, then you're not going to gain the trust, and you're not going to have the sale. People will click off. So how do you do that? Social media, website, maybe doing a press release or building out some content on your site so people will see that and know that you're an authority. You know, you speak with authority. So that's one area. The other area is pretty much all the Amazon side of things. And this is also with Walmart now, but we'll build out the e-commerce stores. We'll build out and work on finding a product for somebody. We're doing the research and giving them opportunities. Probably one of the bigger things is packaging. So a lot of people don't really understand packaging or how to get perceived value out of packaging. And then we'll do the product listings if people want. We're very good with graphics. So, you know, the designs with graphics. So we can put the whole listing together if people want. And then we can move it on to Walmart, or we could drive external traffic to it. It's pretty much the whole gambit. My goal when I set this up was it's A to Z. And that's what we've established. It's A to Z. So if people do come and they want, if it's not me as an expert, we definitely have somebody in the company that is an expert on Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever it is.
Awesome. And I think that's one thing that you had mentioned prior to this podcast. We had talked a lot about, you know, one of the things that you would advise a lot of sellers to start focusing on is external traffic. Tell me more about that. Why is external traffic so important, especially if people want to be growing to 8 figures and beyond?
Well, first of all, Amazon's rewarding us, right? So they've got the brand referral program that's been in existence for about, 6-8 months, and they're giving a 10% credit back. So drive traffic over to Amazon. They're saying it's that important that we're going to give you 10% credit. Okay, super. So it's new traffic that may not have ever heard of your brand. From what I understand, now I can't tell you 100%, nobody can, but from what I understand, they weigh external traffic differently. And if it converts, even better. So what ends up happening is you get that little bump. So your prices actually end up going down because your conversion is better. So your PPC costs go down. So this is what I've heard multiple people in the industry say. Again, I'm not 100% sure it's true, but it looks to be. But driving external traffic over to your listing is not only good over to Amazon, but it's so easy to do with any of your other, like if you're doing it to Shopify, to build a list, to make that customer yours. And that is, by the way, something we never talked about. And that is owning the client, right? Owning the customer. So by putting the proper inserts in, by using dynamic URLs, so you can change it to the seasons, by having a really great add-on or something of value that people, it could be a registered warranty, or it could be whatever it is. I know we work with a knife company that gives away a 52-week meal plan. And people love it, and the recipe book, and they get email addresses, quite a few email addresses because of this very simple thing to do. And they change it up on the season. So these are little things that you can do that you can now drive external traffic from wherever you want. You can add email campaigns, but it's your traffic. So anyways, I'm going down 1,000 different rabbit holes here, but I can't tell you how important it is. And then even if you're driving the traffic from simple posts, okay, you can take those posts and repurpose those posts in your Amazon posts side of things. So you use it 2 ways.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So there's a lot. I think maybe overall, are you saying that brands need to become more kind of omnichannel and omnipresent, so to speak, that instead of just leaning into, hey, I'm just an Amazon brand and all I do is just focus all of my attention on Amazon, Are you saying that people need to start focusing more of things off of Amazon then?
Yeah, they have to say they're a business, not a Amazon brand or I sell on Amazon. One of the first things that businesses do is create a business plan. And if you don't have a business plan, you're not a business, because you have to have a map of where you're going. And if you don't have that map and you don't have those numbers, and if you don't have a strategy, then how the hell are you going to get to where you want to go? So that's the first thing, is make sure that you have the model where you don't have to depend on Amazon.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you have a lot of experience yourself selling outside of Amazon prior to Amazon. And so I think like for you, that comes more natural than many other people. It's like they only know how to sell on Amazon. So if a brand is primarily on Amazon right now, right, that you could consider them an Amazon brand, what are some of the first steps that you would recommend that they should start taking? Because as you shared, there's a lot that people can be doing, driving external traffic, inserts and then email lists. There is a lot, right? Do you have kind of maybe a roadmap or a path that you would recommend to people to say, all right, you're here on Amazon, but here are some of the next steps we should be taking to get your brand more omnipresent and to create a real business plan?
Yeah, probably it's the insert that starts everything if you're on Amazon. So create a QR code, put it on your insert, and have it a dynamic, not a static QR code. So you got to be able to go in and change that URL. And you could lead that over to a funnel page, or you can lead it over to your Shopify page. But at the end of the day, you want to have a area for you to get that email address or your phone number, right? Or the phone number, or both. And the better the deal, the more of a chance you're going to get that. So just think of it yourself. So if you're going to some person's landing page that you've never known before, you don't know them from anybody, well, you don't trust them, but why are you going to give them your email address? So you've got to have something of value to give, or it's just not going to work. So if you're just going to send some white paper or some research or some document PDF file, probably people are just going to click off of it. They're not going to be interested. And so it's not going to be successful. So that would be my very first step. Then the next step is to do an email campaign. Got friends over at Post Purchase Pro, and they do that. They'll take care of that for you. And what they say is that you're losing 40% of revenue if you're not doing follow-up emails or touching your repeat customers. Repeat customers are easy. They like your brand. Okay. Another thing I should say is that for me anyways, I try not to do brands that I can't do recurring revenue. So let's say I sell soap. I do sell soap. There'll be a few cents over on Amazon, but when they come over to my page, there's going to be a lot more soaps that they can't buy on Amazon. There might be a soap dish that I give them, but this is all recurring income. So if I get them to come over and they buy one package of a 3-pack, I know that's going to probably take 2.5 months. They're going to come back and they're going to buy more soap. So it's a plan. If it was something that they use once, a nail, boom, okay, that's all they're going to do. So that's one of the things I try to do is always recurring. Getting them over to that page. Well, it could be a funnel too. It doesn't have to be Shopify. You can do a simple funnel where you can, just tell people what your offer is. You can show the benefits. You can show testimonials or social sharing. And you could just build out a normal funnel. And at the end of it, there's the offer, scarcity, and your guarantee. Pretty simple. And you'll probably find that you can offer some sort of value. So it might be, let's say it's a multi-purpose knife, but you're going to give away a $20 honing rod that costs you $3. Something like that, but something of value to get the person to order, to give you that email address.
Interesting. I love that. So Norm, as we back it up, I think you did a great job of laying out a clear path of like, here's some steps people should be taking if they want to become more omnipresent, so to speak, and omnichannel and start a real brand. The first thing was kind of focusing in on the product insert, right? Or product label, whatever it is. And you're enticing people to, give you their email address. So Norm, I wanted to ask, what are some of the best practices that you see with that? And maybe do you have any case studies or maybe some examples that you might be able to share with us just to kind of spark some ideas in people's mind of the various opportunities that do lie in, building your own audience off of Amazon from those insert cards?
Well, and it's a good and bad story, but I know we were working with a beauty company who had built an email list up to 280,000 emails.
Wow.
But he thought it was inconvenient. It would inconvenience people if he sent them emails.
That doesn't make sense.
280,000 emails. So yeah, that wasn't a smart move. But
how was he attracting? I mean, how did he attract 280,000 people to give him their email address, right? Like, do you know what the offer was?
Yeah, well, different beauty products. So what it would be is you could go to the insert, it would go to a landing page. The landing page would offer them one of his other products. So if you had the shampoo conditioner, you could have the what's called keratin treatment, or you could have there was some serums and stuff like that, but you were offered a free product. So okay,
in the
$10
in the insert card, on the insert card it says, "Hey, claim your free product." I assume then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So all it did was he got the email address and the address because he had to send the product.
Mm.
So he had it all, and he did not and would not send out a single email.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Which is, going back, you kind of shared that stat that you think that people are missing out on 40% of revenue just by not implementing,
additional revenue.
Right?
You sell $1 million, you're missing out on 400,000.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Any other stories or examples of like insert cards or, ways that work to get people to provide their email address?
Well, there's always the extended warranty. So that is something, again, going back to the knife company, extended warranty. So it's a lifetime warranty. Okay, great. It's a lifetime warranty anyway, basically, but it's a lifetime warranty. Another one was just like I was talking to you about before, a knife with the honing rod. Okay, great. Another one that worked for that company was the meal plan and cookbook. So you can either download and get a weekly email. So what's in that weekly email with the weekly plan? Well, there's some sort of promotion. It wasn't all the time, but there was either just some recipe. So this is something that we did as well. We went out and we talked to chefs and we talked to culinary schools, and we gave them a very expensive knife. Okay. And so the deal was, we'll supply the whole class with these very expensive knives if they provide us with a recipe and spread it out on their social media, tag us on their social media. So we got a ton of user-generated content, and we got a ton of recipes. So what did we do on Amazon Posts? We provided recipes. So that started to get a very unique following. And then because of that, we ended up getting all this really cool stuff that we could put onto this other page, fill into the newsletter. And when people got their newsletter, they got recipes, which ended up being 2 full, really incredible recipe books. So now we give away the recipe books, but we could peel off one recipe at a time, which people enjoyed, and we didn't do it, but you could have even segmented it further. If the person was vegan, you could just send them vegan recipes, or vegetarian, or, whatever it was. You could drill down and even build a better profile. So now you're targeting really specific things, depending on what you're selling later on.
That is super smart. And honestly, I think I had a mindset shift as you were talking about, leveraging those recipes into Amazon posts as well. So I think that's a brilliant strategy, right? Like so to sum things up, people would buy this knife set, right? They would they had the card that's like, hey, get, 52 weeks worth of free recipes sent to your email inbox, right? They opt in, they give you their email address, and then you got really well, like you didn't just go to Google and be like, oh no, I need a recipe and just scrape something off of Google. You got them from professional, culinary students, right? And then you have exceptional recipes. You're sending them out via email on a weekly basis, right? So you're providing value to the customer, right? Or your potential lead. And so that they don't feel like they're just being marketed to, right? I think when people think about, oh, I can generate 40,000 or 40% more revenue from email, I just need to send sales emails. It's like, no, it's not the way that the email game works. But I like the fact that like you're providing value and then you repurposed that content from your emails into Amazon posts. That's a big mindset shift, because I think for people, like, yes, you may still be focusing on Amazon, but as you open up this new, email channel, like you're still serving Amazon at the end of the day, and you can repurpose some of that. So I like that idea. I think we're going to start taking some of that away, like even our own newsletters, like what content should we just be sharing on Amazon posts like it's its own social media channel, right?
Yeah, we went one step further with the culinary students and chefs. Hasn't started. It should be this week or next, but we have a cooking show now on Amazon Live.
Really?
So
and are you, well, tell me more about that. I have a lot of questions about that.
Okay. So we got the chefs to come on, and they're going to be doing, it's going to be a cooking show. And we didn't know if we were going to have it in a studio that we would prep for. That would just be our studio, but we decided not to do it that way. It's just going to be, it is in a culinary school. So we've got everything at our fingertips. And the tip is they're going to be going and showing us how they prepped it. And then at the end, there'll be a dish that's already made and people will see it. So it's going to be some live content using the product, because one of the things that Amazon wants to show you, is the product as a deal. And they want to show the product being in use. So it's selling, it's promotional, but it's also useful information. So I think that's going to generate, like the average person spends 8 minutes on an Amazon Live.
Really?
If we can extend that out, that'll be even better. And I think we're going to get a lot of followers for them.
I think that is a brilliant strategy. So to sum that up, Norm, the product you guys are promoting, so to speak, is it knives there? Same thing?
Yeah, it's a whole selection of kitchen utensils, but primarily knives.
Okay, so kitchen utensils. So they're going to be using multiple utensils throughout that, cooking process then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they are featuring different utensils, but rather than just, hey, I want to show you this new spatula and look how nice this spatula is, and how long do you want to listen to a talking head just talking about a spatula, right? You're providing actionable and valuable content. Like you're going above and beyond. And I think that's a brilliant strategy that people need to start thinking outside the box more that way.
People are looking for video. And don't forget, when you do this, if you have a YouTube channel, or this is something that we don't talk about it a lot, but this is a strategy that you can use for content. Content's everything right now on Amazon, outside of Amazon. But if you have a video, even if you go to a company like Billo and they'll put together a video for you for around $100, well, you can take that video, very well done, and then you can start taking screen captures. And now instead of having just a video, well, you've got 10 images and you've got the video. And if you do that with 5 different influencers, then you can mix it up so it doesn't look like it's the same one that you're using, or 10 even. What's $1,000 when if you can get 10 different influencers and you get 10 different shots from each influencer. And then you could even mix up and you can start adding like like splice it together in editing. You got countless amounts of not inventory, but content that you can put on your website, repurpose on all social media, into YouTube. And just like this, you can actually take your Amazon Live, download segments of it, and put it onto your YouTube and wherever else you want to show it. But now you've got multiple uses for your content. You can repurpose it all over.
That's brilliant. No, I love that. What was the name of that software? You said Billo? Is it Billo?
Billo.
Okay.
Yeah, incredible. It's
what is it? Tell us more about that.
Okay, so very simple. You go, there's packages they've got a 1-pack, 5-pack, 10-pack. So that's how many videos you want.
Okay.
And they say $59, but I seem to think that it was $89, just over $100, depending on if you want certain things being said. And you can pick from a unboxing, a review, a testimonial, a demo, whatever you want. And you put it out to bid. And not to bid, but to review. People will see it. They'll say, "Oh, I want a knife. I want a knife, or I want some soap." They come back and you select out of the group which ones you want, and then they produce it, and it's very high quality. Now, this is not an influencer network. You're not going to get them to post it on their influencer sites. Okay, but it's something that looks like very high quality, completely usable. And if you don't like it, you can go back and get a revision.
Fascinating. Very cool. I'm going to have to take a look at that one. I have not heard about that software.
Oh my gosh, so good.
But sounds like an amazing service. You shared a great strategy of how you could then repurpose that content multiple times on Amazon and everywhere, your own social media. That's where we are talking about being more omnipresent, right? Having your own social channels and website and all of that. Now, that's kind of where we kind of got down this rabbit hole here. Is we were originally talking about building your own audience, right? We talked about getting people from the insert cards and then creating that email list. And then we ultimately started, directing some traffic to Shopify. At what point do brands start focusing more on driving traffic to their own D2C store than trying to direct external traffic to Amazon? Do you have any recommendation?
It just depends on the brand. You can do it at any time. If it is more of an Amazon brand, if you want that captivated audience and it's going to cost you, let's say you have a lower dollar product, right? Like soap. This is something we learned. If I'm selling 1 bar of soap, I'm going to die on Facebook. I'll never make a penny. If I bundle it, I will. So it depends if you're, in that lower dollar category. It's going to be tough to drive traffic over to your DNC until you establish that list, later on, where you can now target people, build loyalty programs, a referral program. So this is something my son does. He'll go out and he'll build a referral program, and it's a contest. You get a point or 5 points for every person you refer to, and then you can get something usually non-related. So we've given away AirPod Pros or Maxes or whatever they are, wireless things. and you'll get tons and tons of new followers. One of the things that we did, by the way, which this is for some jewelry, so $55 jewelry. Okay. We started out, we were just talking about it last night. And anyways, it's some nice jewelry. We spent money on photography, lots of money on photography, but getting followers. We, as of now, have 12,000 followers, all organic followers who love the concept of the jewelry, that we provide non-promotional information to them. And then those 12,000 people, ended up costing us less than $1,000 to get. Wow. 12,000 people. So 24,000, 100,000, like on my soap, I've got over 100,000 followers. How hard is it when you have a new bar of soap to say, hey, check this out. If you like Hawaiian scents, if you like this scent, take 10% off. That's where you can, really build out. And if you can build out your social media, well, you can do the D2C anytime.
How do you build out that audience though, then so cheaply and so effectively?
So it depends. I think my other friend, my old business partner, Wilfred Lightheart, I could tell you a story there where he's reached millions of people on $10. And he knows how to do it. He knows he uses all different techniques to build communities. And I know we had built a community of 5 million Republicans, which got shut down by Facebook, and 3 million Democrats, which never did. Anyways, what you could do with that is leverage, building up these communities on very low cost using Facebook posts or boosts, or for him, he was just boosting with viral content about the subject. And anyways, then you split it off into, what Republicans like, what Democrats like, what kind of dogs do they like, what kind of pets do they like, and then you could start marketing to them. So it was really quite powerful. And because it wasn't brand specific, you could market multiple brands into that, or you could even create your own affiliate and market other people's brands into those communities. But it's not hard to build a community as long as you're consistent and you're not promoting.
Yeah.
Like he always says, you got to get engaged before you get married. So fully agree with that.
Makes a lot of sense. I think that's some great advice. Now we're coming up on time here, Norm, but I would love for you to share with some people some easy optimization tactics that they can be making to their listings that typically get overlooked.
Oh yeah, there are so many things right now. So one of the things that I like to do is I don't like to use the retail packaging that I normally would have let's say the soap in, or whatever product it could be, the knives. I want to bring out the selling points. Or if it's real, a supplement bottle is very crammed with all sorts of information.
Yeah.
You've got all the supplement info on the one side, the directions and all the ingredients, and then you got lots of stuff up front. I get rid of all that. So I'll just do a 3D rendering. That's important. And we never talked about that, but 3D renderings are so important when you're using cardstock boxes or especially cylinder type bottles. So you can just clean it up. So it says the name, the product. You can bring out if it's the count that's important, or if there's any benefits that are important, you can put it there. Nobody's going to complain if they don't get the exact same bottle as what was on the listing. If they are, they're an idiot. They're just a troublemaker. But and you give them the refund like they want. But nobody's going to do that. So that's one thing. The other thing, I'm going to skip title, bullets, back end stuff. I'm going to accept, and this is Vanessa Hung. So if you ever get a chance to listen to her, she talks about flat files and using every field in your flat file and making sure that every field is taken up, and that it's called contributors' rights, and that you upload these on a regular basis just so Amazon can see its contributors' rights. And if they see a change all of a sudden, a category change to adult or images, it can be shown that it's still you're the contributor and not this other person. And the chances of you getting that repaired very quickly, that's important. So that's something I didn't tell you about. The other is frequently bought together. Get a few people to buy your products. For me, soap scents. I might have a 1-pack, 3-pack and soap dish, or I might have different scents. But why do I want my competitors to be on the frequently bought together? And it might only take one purchase or two purchases to have everything together. So that's another area. And 33% of all sales are done through frequently bought together. Another key area.
On that, if you don't mind me interrupting on that, how do you kind of influence that? Is that just something that you maybe create a promotion to your email list or social media to tell people to do that, or any recommendations there?
Yeah, you could do something like that. You could just do a virtual bundle if you wanted, or you could do a Facebook ad and you could just say that you're having a 50% off sale something along those lines, just to show that they're done together. But a virtual bundle, and you promote that virtual bundle, that'll do her. But you only need a couple of sales. That's it. You know, that, and when you see all these other people that have virtual, like frequently bought together, and there's competitors on there, all you have to do is buy it once or twice, and you'll probably beat out the competitor. Now, supplements might be a little bit different, but most categories, all it is your competitors bought your product. And that's a strategy too. If you've got an added, let's say I'm a knife company, and I don't have a polishing stone, or if I don't have a honing rod, well, team up with somebody who has a honing rod, and now you're on the listing. Or if somebody else has more sales than you, go and buy their product.
Yeah.
With your product.
Great idea. Great idea.
That's one. And then the final one, which is, quite obvious. Well, actually, there's two. There's the questions and answers, which you get people to ask questions. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be you. It could be, your hamster. Anybody can answer or put in a question with a keyword, and then you answer it with that keyword, and that'll get indexed. Those are indexed.
I've heard that's also a really good way if there's like brand related terms, right? That you can't necessarily include in your listing, but you could say, is this similar to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, iron or something like that?
Terms of service, because it's a question that came in from somebody. So so I don't think that's a problem. And then the other one I didn't tell you about is related video. So under related video, you can upload a comparison or a review video to your competitors with their product, and you just don't trash your product, but you make your product a little bit more enticing. Or we go to a company like a video production company, and we get them to do maybe a 2-minute video, but within the 2 minutes, we say, okay, make us, try to do 10 videos that we can somehow assemble. Maybe it's an unboxing video, it's instructions, it's whatever it is, but you can do 10 videos out of this 2 minutes. And then we'll get somebody to do a thumbnail, how to, the brand, and then unboxing, blah, 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 the brand. And then I upload every single one, and it looks like it's more of a tutorial section than a related. Nobody's doing that.
That is a really, really good idea. All right. So I want to break that one down because I feel like that is a golden nugget that I think nobody's talking about. So this sits above the review section, right? And there's a bunch of, it just says related videos, right?
Right.
And if you don't upload your own videos, then typically what's going to show up are just like competitors' videos, anything that's related to your product that Amazon feels is related. There's a video, they'll put it there. And right now there's a lot of unoccupied real estate, to be honest with you there. So Norm, you're able to then upload your own videos then, correct? Like as your own brand, you can upload related videos. Where does that go? Where do you upload it? Oh,
it's so crazy, but just look in the section. It'll probably be blank, or you'll have your competitors' videos there. But right there, it says add video. Click it, upload your video.
That's it. And it's not against TOS. Like, you're the brand. You could be logged into your brand account and you upload your own brand videos across the board. And these could be even 10-second clips, from a 2-minute video, and you just chopped them up, correct?
Yeah. If you want to make it a little bit bigger, so you got a really nice thumbnail, don't make it look cheesy. Or it'll just be, one of the frames in the video, but make it look educational and make it look enticing. And then have a little 1 second or 1.5 second intro. And it could be like something you have for everyone. So it's consistent. Everything about brands consistency. So you have this 1.5 second, your logo, or, and then the benefit, what that video is about. And then the next one, and then the next one. And then you can take a review video that you've done, you've bought 3 or 4 products, and you can test it out. You can just very simply show the product. Now, one of the things that I have, and it's right over there, is a very inexpensive photo studio So I went through school for photography, film and photography. However, I never was a photographer. So for 30 years later, I got myself a light box, but it's called Foldio.
Okay.
And Foldio is awesome. It's not expensive. It has LED lights. You might want to buy, it's called the 360 Smart Table. And all of a sudden, you've got this thing that can do rotating. And I'm talking about with your finger, like you could rotate the images around. You can put your competitors' stuff on. Maybe you have duller lights, than what's on yours. So yours always comes up brighter and looks better. But there's all sorts of ways to do it very inexpensively without having to go out to a photography studio, because it's supposed to look like an iPhone has shot it, so it looks homemade. And you could just go through, 4 different points on each one. So for us, like when we do Facebook Live, we want to make sure that how's the brand, how's the unboxing, how's the perceived value, and how's the overall customer experience. You can just use those 4 points on the 4 products. And of course, yours is always the better. Yeah. And then you can put it on all 4 of those competitors.
So you go to your competitors listing and you go to related videos, right? The related video section, and you just go ahead and upload that. And guess what? You can put all your videos up there if you wanted, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would probably put yours without the thumbnail on it. Okay. So it doesn't look the same, but you can start putting yours up there. And what you want to do is make sure that you fill out your carousel, because you don't want your competitors to, kind of do the same to you once they find out what you're doing. Genius. This gets me really excited, Norm. That's an amazing little hack there. I love that. But all TOS compliant, very white hat. This isn't like anything shady, but a lot of real estate that just simply isn't being taken advantage of. And Amazon is definitely leaning more into video. With your experience, Norm, kind of another question I wanted to ask, you went to school for photography, videography, you have your own little home studio now. Any recommendations that you would provide to people when it comes to product photography or videos? Because I think most people look at that and it's like, oh, this is a daunting task for myself.
Now, you have to go and do competitive analysis. So if you're finding that your competitors are more higher end, it might be okay to do a lower end video, but in some cases, I think supplements, they spend a bit of money on their videos, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to. And I know I'm speaking in circles here, but there might be an argument to say that it might be different enough if you do a low end video, and people might find it more refreshing to see a lower end video than some highly polished video. I don't spend a lot of money on videos, and I'll even do videos with that light table over there, just rotating. And don't forget, Amazon's got their own video templates now. So if you put your product in the one side and you've got a little, like you show it spinning around on a table, or if you've got a GIF that you wanted to, or GIF, whatever you want to say, but you want to just put multiple images in there and then put whatever your bullet points are, like the headings for them, they'll produce a very inexpensive video, and at least you've got it, and it's free.
Where are those video templates?
What's that?
Where are those video templates?
The video templates are when you go to upload a video, you'll be able to see where you can get a video template. Oh, okay. Yeah, and they're free. There's nothing that you have to pay. I mean, it's you just load them up and you've got something that you can use. Now there are other video apps out, lots of video apps out there, but Animoto was one that I used in the past. I don't anymore. What's some others? What is it? Videoly? I forget, but Animoto is the one. Okay. But you can go to companies that do this. Video Telepathy is a good company, high quality videos. What's the agency that was just approached us? They made one for us. Anyways, Video Telepathy is really great when it comes to product and demo videos.
Awesome. I love that. Well, you've shared a lot of valuable feedback. And so, Norm, as we wrap things up here today, I would love to, ask you my few final questions that I like to ask everybody. But before we get to that point, I love to leave the audience with 3 actionable takeaways from each episode. Here are the 3 takeaways that I noted, Norm. Let me know if you think I'm missing something. So number 1, I think the basic thing that people need to do if they haven't done this yet is actually take time out of your schedule to create a business plan and a business strategy. If you have not created your 3 to 5 year plan for your business and how you're going to grow from where you're at to where you want to be in the future and the different levers that you need to pull when and where, then you need to start working on your business because there's a lot of great tactics that we talked about today. And honestly, that's been one of the mistakes that I've made in the past when I was new into e-commerce, was just whenever I heard something new and it was a cool, shiny object, or a new marketing hack, I would just go dive into it without seeing how that fits into the overall business plan and strategy that we are pursuing. So that's first and foremost. Number 2 would be an actionable takeaway is that if you are not actively, collecting your own audience off of Amazon, right? Whether it be through insert cards or through warranties or whatever that be, start doing that. Or if you are like the other seller that we talked about that had 280,000 people already on their list, but not utilizing that email channel, then that would be a next step. I think, if people are an Amazon brand primarily right now, I think email genuinely is kind of your next stage before you start getting distracted in, maybe big Shopify stores or, ClickFunnels or anything like that. Utilize email. And then third, last but not least, you shared a lot of actionable strategies with some optimization tips that people could go back and listen to. But anything from product images to the question and answer fields to related videos, take one of those optimization tactics that we talked about, especially as it relates to content, and start repurposing your content throughout Amazon. So those are kind of, I think, 3 actionable takeaways from this episode. Norm, anything else you think I missed that we should add in there?
Well, if they wanted to go one step further with optimization, check out Amazon's internal tools for optimization. And one of them is called listing optimization, which is under your catalog. So when you go into Seller Central, under catalog, you'll see the listing optimization. I think that's what it's called now. Anyways, it'll tell you 4 or 5 different tips, what you could do. Some of them are not accurate, okay, but some of them are. The other thing is growth opportunities. So click on that and it'll show you different ways and the amount that you're missing out on in over a 90-day period. I did it with one of my clients and they were missing out on $40,000 worth of product if we just did these little tweaks. And we did. I don't know if it came out to that, but it'll tell you need a video, need A+, need this, need that. And you do that. Then you can go over to your brand section and you can take a look at your search terms and see if there's any low quality terms that are going to generate you nothing. And you can replace those terms. They're usually in pink. Replace those terms with something that will get you some extra traffic. There's a lot of internal tools that Amazon has now to help you out.
That's brilliant. I think that's great advice. And I have seen those recommendations before. That's an easy one that people should be paying attention to, but I think we also overlook very frequently. Norm, as we wrap things up, what is a book that you've read that has been impactful? I think you've maybe answered it earlier in this conversation, but what's been the most impactful books that you've read and why?
I'm going to go back. E-Myth Revisited is what's called now. I can't say enough about it. It really did change the way I looked at business.
Awesome. I love that. What is a software tool that you're currently utilizing that maybe a lot of people aren't talking about that needs some light shed on it?
Oh, if you are not using Data Dive, you're missing out.
Yep. I agree. Data Dive with Brandon Young, one of the best, newest tools in the Amazon seller system right now.
Yep.
All right. Last question here. who is somebody that you respect the most in the e-commerce space that people need to be paying attention to and following along their content?
Yeah, I don't know. He says he's not doing podcasts anymore, but I always liked Adam Heist. He was really, on it. I like Brandon. Brandon Young is on it. There's a lot of people, Stephen, who you've had on, Stephen Pope, Carlos Alvarez with Wizards. He's got he's got the biggest Amazon meetup in the world, 16,000 people.
Yeah, that is a big meetup.
Crazy. But those are a few people. And my partner, Afalabi Orocon, I mean, he knows his stuff as well, especially with product innovation.
I love it. Great. That's a great list of people that other people can go pay attention to and follow along.
Kevin, I got my friend, my buddy, Kevin King.
Of course.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to him. He's got the flu right now, so just get better. Get better quick.
Awesome. Well, Norm, as we depart today, I think there is a parting gift you are going to leave our audience with, a new tool, kind of never before heard. This is the first time I'm hearing it as well. Norm's revealing it here on our podcast, so we're fortunate. So Norm, kind of give us the good word here.
Okay, it's not so much a tool. It's just a lot of effort. What I'm doing, and Amazon sellers, like in general, don't know how to find influencers. So they either hear a couple of different ways, they don't go about it, but different platforms have different ways of approaching them. So I'm going to be doing this TikTok daily journal on how to do it. It's from like day one, trying to find influencers, what platforms, what to say, what not to say, mistakes, blah, 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 blah. And then on the other side of it, people want to become influencers. And this is a challenge I took from my son, Kelsey, saying he thought I'd be a good influencer. I said, I think I would suck at being a buying influencer because I have zero followers on that side of it. On the podcast side, yes, but on the buyer side, zero. So the challenge was to create a 0 to 100,000 followers as an influencer in a year. And so this is what we're doing. We're looking for people, for products that at no charge, we'll put them on Amazon Live, just like we were talking about before. We've done it for years now. We'll do a video, we'll do photos, everything that you'll need you'll be on the deal site. What I'm trying to do is create this thing called Lunch with Norm Deals. All we need is product. So if you get us the product, we'll start to do all this stuff. I can't tell you if it'll be on one channel or on multiple channels, but you get us the product, we'll do this for you for absolutely free. The only time that there'll be a charge is if there's a sale, and there'll be 10% charge. But if you're on Amazon, it'll be just replaced by the credit. But that's because of if we're doing Facebook ads or if we're doing Instagram or doing anything on TikTok, it costs us as well. So all I'm trying to do is recoup costs, do this challenge, and just show how an old guy with 0 followers can hit 100,000 followers in a year.
I love that. Norm, what a cool opportunity. So if people want to follow you and maybe take advantage of this opportunity, where should people be contacting you at?
Okay, I am going to be doing all sorts of promos on Lunch with Norm Deals, which is on Amazon Live. But anything Lunch with Norm Deals is probably going to be under LWN Deals. We've just started, there's no followers. I think I have 1 follower now. I don't even know how I got that follower, but on Instagram. But that's how. Or if you want to send me products, just Norm, just really simple, Norm at lwndeals.com. And I'll respond, give you the address where to send it to. And I think it's going to be good for the person because they're going to be able to get influencer. They'll be able to get live. They'll be able to take that content and repurpose it. So they got nothing to lose. And all I want to do is I don't want to be embarrassed after a year coming in at, 90,999. So I need that 100,000 to hit my challenge.
I love it. Norm, this has been so awesome. Thanks so much for the valuable insights and strategies that you've shared with us today. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you for listening. Visit EcomBreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.